Hello everyone and welcome back to the Retro Recall. I hope you're doing awesome. Laptops. So many laptops. If you haven't seen these laptops, they were briefly featured in the Thrift Finds video, episode number 5. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. Lots of cool retro tech featured over the last few months in that video. Now, these machines, I have no idea if they work. They were either found in thrift stores, online marketplaces, or at yard sales. Again, 5 machines here. I have no idea if they work. In today's video, we're going to go over each one of these machines, do an overview of the actual machine. Some of these, might bring some nostalgia to you if you haven't seen them in a long time. And we're going to see if we can actually get them working today. If we can't, we are going to document what needs to be repaired and we'll feature them in a future video. But for now, we have lots to do. Let's have some fun. Let's get right to it. Welcome back. Here we are with our first machine, which is probably the newest of the bunch, a Hewlett-Packard EliteBook. Now, this is very similar to my Dell D630 machine. And, it reminds me a lot of it because of the way it's built and the type of materials they had utilized in the construction of this machine. As I mentioned, this was an EliteBook. This was really aimed at the business market at the time, and they were built to last. They had heavier duty hinges, definitely constructed a lot stronger than you would say an entry level or home-based type machine. We have, looks like, some indicators, lights, LEDs. We have a Wi-Fi, power, charging, and our hard disk activity. We also have, looks like, an SD card reader built directly into the machine. That was very common back in the day. Not so much now, but back then I do remember them being quite available on these machines. And it looks like a couple speakers there as well. And I might add, I don't know if it's dirt or rust or what it is, but definitely some markings within there. And over here, it looks like we have a DVD multi-reader writer with LightScribe built in. That's awesome. So you have the ability to, using LightScribe disk, to write on the label side, utilizing the laser. I don't know if anyone really got into that too much, but it's definitely there. And over here, we have a combo port. So we have eSATA, so external SATA, so you hook up external drives, as well as a USB port. We still have, I'm going to assume it's gigabit based on the age, and of course we have a modem. That was confusing me for a second because we do have a modem still built into the system itself. And along the back, we have what looks like our battery, our charging port, looks like to be display port. So this is a very common port in the business market, specifically Dell, Lenovo, Hewlett-Packard. Their business line really had these display ports to hook up an external monitor at the same time while you had the VGA port. So you can have your dual monitor setup. You can get display port to different adapters to be able to hook up to various monitors and outputs. So it was really common to see those on the business class of machines. Very nice to have. And over here on the last side, we do have our ventilation, a couple more USB ports. So this does have 3+1 USB ports. Looks like we also have a FireWire connection, as well as a smart card reader, and our microphone and headset jacks. So in terms of a notebook, I mean, this is pretty jam-packed with ports. And you know what? That's pretty awesome. Again, I haven't opened this yet, so I have no idea what the condition of it is. But it does have looks like all of its back panels intact. A lot of the times that I get these machines, it does, it's missing generally one of these covers for the RAM or for the hard disk, or missing a battery and things like that. But it does look like it is fully intact, which is nice. And in the business line, another sure giveaway are these docking ports. So you'd have a docking station that these would snap into, and then you'd have like a riser of some sort and a external keyboard, monitor, mouse, all those good things with the business class. Because if you're on the go, you hit the button, you eject it, you go, and everything's still on your screen on your laptop. So very common in the business world. All right, let's open it up and see what's on the inside. All right, we have some stuff going on here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to say is we have a matte screen. That's very common on the business line of machines, is having the matte finish screen And here we have our power button and various lights along the top here indicating your volume, our hard disk, our power, etc., etc., etc. So all those good things along here. Now this machine is quite dirty. I do like the look of the machine, and the feel of the machine just feels really tight and sturdy and strong. So that was something that, again, if you were on the road, traveling a lot, taking it out of airports, things like that, you want a machine that's going to be able to handle and withstand impact as well as use versus something that you generally would just leave at the house. And then so we have our Elite book. Our model number is 8440P as in Peter. So that's cool that we have that. It is missing the track point here. Now this is something that Lenovo obviously, or IBM at the time, had and really caught on with Dell. I've seen them quite frequently with the Dell lines, as well as you can see the HP line. And this is something you probably only see in the business market as well. And you're seeing a couple missing keys on this, unfortunately. Not a huge deal. I mean, you can replace the keyboards in these fairly easily. They are available online if you wanted to invest the time and money into doing so. Now, I don't have a power adapter for this machine. Now, historically with these machines, what I had utilized, if I didn't have a power adapter, I had a Dell power adapter and it would fit just fine. But we have to make sure that the voltages are correct for this. So I'm just going to pop the battery out and see if I can find anything written here that would tell me what to use. So I'm looking for input here, and I see, okay, I see input is 18.5 volt, 3.5 amps, or 19 volt DC, 4.74 amps. So I do have a universal power supply as well I could try using, but I'm going to try the Dell first. Let's see if I can get that for everybody. Okay, here's my Dell one here that it will work, and it says 19.5 volt, 3.34 amps. So we have 19.5 volt, 3.33 amps. So this charging adapter should work for this machine because it's right on the money when it comes to that. Now, if you've noticed, I left the battery out because of the age of the machine. It's not really required, to be honest, and you should be able to power everything directly off of the power adapter. Okay, so we have it plugged in there. I'm not seeing any indicator lights in the front. We do have it plugged in. Power bar is on. Let's reopen the machine and we'll hit the power button and see what happens. And nothing. So again, I'm not getting any power indication in the front. Let's press it again. Okay, it is flashing now. So I'm going to press it again and see how many times it's flashing. So it was 8 times. So 8 times that flash. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to look online right now to see what that means for this machine. Okay, from what I read online, it indicates that it's a power system issue. So something to do with the battery, the charger, or the laptop itself. It could be a motherboard problem in that area. So I'm going to, I've been through this a few times where, you try different power adapters and you try different memory and things like that. So I'm going to try a different power adapter just to see if we can get this going. I have a universal here. So again, it gave you the different voltages. So I'm going to put it on 19 volts. Now this particular universal goes up to, in that range, it looks like 5 amps. So it does call for I think it was 3 or 3.3 amps. That'll be more than fine. This has enough amperage to drive this. It's the voltage you really have to make sure you are on par with. And because it is a universal, I'm going to remove this one and get us one specifically for this machine. So I believe that's probably, based on what I'm seeing here, this one. Let's take a look and we'll try it out. Let's plug in the universal. We have power, and you always double check. It lights up 19 volts, which is fine. Okay, plug it in there. Oh, we have different lights this time. Oh, and it seems the machine is booting. Oh, there we are. We have a booting machine. Press escape for startup menu. I do see some screen damage here in the front as well as down the corner. Everything else is looking okay. I'll hit escape for a startup menu. Oh, something else is going on here. That doesn't look healthy. Hold the power button down and I'll restart one more time because it did turn on automatically when I plugged it in. CMOS checksum is invalid. The CMOS will be reset to default configuration and be rebooted. Please check your BIOS setup options if they change. CMOS reset 502. Enter to reboot the system. Well, it's apparently doing it on its own. Okay, the machine's restarting. So we did get a response that time. It's looking for the Intel boot agent for a network link, which usually implies it can't find the hard disk. Yeah, and sure enough, we have that. All right, well, keyboard doesn't seem to be functioning here. Control-Alt-Delete. Nope. Let me grab a USB external keyboard. Sometimes when the keyboards are in this kind of shape, the keyboard could be bad. Okay, we have our trusty Dell USB keyboard. I have numlock. It's good. Yeah, see, I'm hitting enter and it's responding now. So there's definitely a problem, not only with the screen, but there's also a problem with, yeah, see, look, it's coming back. There's that stripe. There's a problem with the screen for sure, and there's a problem with the keyboard that we have. I'm just going to restart the computer and see if we can hit escape, see if it changes anything. No, it's just doing the same thing, even with this keyboard. Yeah, it's definitely taking my commands. But now the question becomes at this point, I mean, I don't have a working keyboard. Clearly there's damage to the screen. I have no idea, though, if even the rest of the system would function. You know, how far do you go with this? In this particular case, you don't hear that from me too often. I probably would not invest the time into this machine. It's not nostalgic enough for me, outside of potentially utilizing parts from it for other machines. It's a shame because this machine definitely is, you know, there's no external damage and can be cleaned up quite well. I may add it to my project list and see if we'll end up doing that in a future video. But for now, I'm going to say, you know, this laptop, not working. We're going to put it aside and clear the bench for another machine. Okay, well, that's not the way to start a video. So let's go on to system number 2. We have a Compaq Armada. This is another one that we had showcased in the Thrift Finds video. And I had actually done 2 videos on the machine as well. Now, this is an Armada 1750. And if you recall, in my other video, we did it on the Armada 1700. And we're going to do like a little visual comparison here with these machines because I believe there's a slight difference in specs between my 1700 and the 1750. So on the front, we do have our modular bays, and the fact that it also comes with an optical drive built directly into the machine is really nice. There's something about these machines I just loved. On the side here, we have our latch for our lid. We have some ventilation. Looks like we have a PCM CIA card already installed. What is this? Our Compaq Intelligent 10100 PC card. So there you go. It adds network connectivity to your machine. I probably have a dongle that may fit that, actually, by the looks of things. So it's nice that it comes with the card. We have a USB port and additional ventilation in this area. It looks like we have a modem, and this is really neat. This looks like we have TV out. Wow. Yeah, we have video out right there. Again, I don't think my other one has that, to be honest. Let me take a look. Yeah, no, you can see that would have been a feature that the 1750 came with. That's pretty darn neat. Along the back, we have lots and lots of ports. And we know how much we love ports. We have our LPT port, COM port, as well as our VGA, and it looks like a dock port as well. We have, looks like infrared. We have our powers, because this does have the power brick that you'd normally see on a laptop directly built into the system. So you just plug in a cord and you're good to go. Ventilation and our keyboard and mouse PS2 port on this side. Along the other side, we have audio jacks. We have a couple buttons to control the audio levels, I believe, through these buttons. And again, additional ventilation. So yeah, it's pretty neat to see. Let's open it up and see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so far so good. And remember, this is one of those machines that I got on Facebook Marketplace. And the guy was actually local within the province that sold me this and said that it did boot. So I have confidence that it's going to boot. But I am noticing the screen is slightly bigger in this machine. Let's open it up to do a side-by-side comparison. And you can see that, yeah, definitely different heights to the machines. The bezel on the original one here, the 1700, looks to be thicker on the top and the two sides. The bottom looks the same. This looks like it's definitely bigger and thinner bezel. So by the looks of things, it has a different resolution screen. But overall, I mean, the base looks identical, to be honest with you. The keyboard, the stickers, all the buttons, everything pretty straightforward. So, you know, we went around the side of the machine. We ran all the ports. I don't need to go through all the buttons and everything. Everyone's seen that already in my other video. But yeah, let's get this plugged in and see if we can turn this on. All right, let's hit the power button, see what happens. Okay, so far so good. We have our compact logo. It's booting right into Windows 98. Nice looking screen too. And here we are booting directly into the Windows 98 desktop with our cool little underwater sound effects. Clearly the drivers are not installed. I wonder if this, you know, judging by the lack of compact bloatware that we did intentionally, by the way, install on the 1700, I would say that this would have been a fresh install. And one of the problems with these machines that I've come across, and that's one of the challenges I had doing those videos, finding the drivers for this older hardware has become very difficult. And so the way to get them is to do the full restoration using the recovery CD or the recovery media. Now, fortunately, thanks again to the amazing community we have in the retro community, the 1750 has already been loaded on archive.org. Okay, here we are on our system properties. Looks like we have 96 megabytes of memory. I can't remember what we had installed in the 1700. And under device manager, sure enough, under our display adapters, you can see that we just have a standard driver installed. So this would definitely do well for the restoration process. Let's continue going. Our network adapters. Okay, so we have all of our network information here installed. So it looks like they were able to get that installed, but unknown device is present. That wouldn't be part of the process. Under sound, video, and game controllers, we do have our ES audio drive here. So let's go under the hard disk for a moment just to see what we have in terms of hard disk installed. Yes, it did say also that it was a Pentium 2 PC. Okay, so we have 20 gigs of memory. Okay, I don't know the clock speed actually of this computer. Let's do a quick restart and see if we can get into the BIOS, the compact BIOS. Okay, we're restarting the system here. Now F10 is usually how you get into the BIOS when the compact logo is showing, but it's not. It's not giving me any option. So the BIOS information is actually stored on the hard disk. If this hard disk has been replaced, or if this was rebuilt and they didn't use the recovery, the BIOS is not going to be part of this system. So for whatever reason, Compaq at the time was storing the BIOS on the hard disk, which is just crazy to me to think, you know, it's one of the most #1 common fail points. So in this particular case, we don't have a BIOS, which is fine. We have an operating system, but we have the ability through the restoration disks as well as the recovery CDs to get this back up and running 100%. So I'm really excited to be able to go ahead and do that to this system in a future video. It'll be nice to have the two Compaq Armadas in our fleet, as it were, the 1700 and the 1750. Let's go on to system number 3. Here are system number 3. We have a Toshiba laptop. So let's take a look. I believe in the video it was a Toshiba Satellite. Yeah, sure enough. Toshiba Satellite L500D-00T, a Toshiba Corporation. I never loved these machines, to be quite honest with you, but hey, we have it in front of us. Let's see if we can get it going. So yeah, let's look at the overall condition. Looks to be pretty okay. Looks like we have a volume control, SD card reader, a bunch of LED lights in the front. By the feel of this machine, it was, I mean, my opinion, was more of an entry-level version. I know the Toshiba Tecras, I believe, were the business class line. We have a DVD multi-recorder optical drive, a couple USB ports, modem, and our Kensington lock along with our charge port. On the back we have, well, nothing on the back. And on the other side we have some ventilation, VGA, Ethernet, and looks like an eSATA and USB combined port again. And then of course we have our headset and microphone jacks. And looks like what looks like would be a smart card reader, but it doesn't seem to be populated. Okay, let's open this up. And oh my goodness, there's that glare screen again. Hate the glare screens. All right, we have our webcam, our glare screen stuff going on, a couple of speakers, power, and a couple hotkeys for play, pause, fast forward, rewind. The keyboard itself looks like the nice thing I like about these keyboards, if anything, is the fact that we have a num pad as part of the setup. When they started getting smaller and they got rid of the num pads, I do a lot of work with the num pads, so having that not there is inconvenient, but it's nice to see that as part of this machine. Looks like we have an AMD Athlon X2 64 ATI Radeon graphics with Windows Vista, Energy Star compliant, our satellite logo there, and a couple buttons for our what seemingly looks like an invisible mouse, but the trackpad is definitely there. We have some keys wearing off. Obviously, this has been used quite a bit. Let's see what we can do to get this powered up. The first thing I'm going to do is take a look at the voltages just to see what is required. Okay, it looks like 19 volt DC in. And I have what looks like a light on. Go 19 volt, perfect. Let's plug it in, see if anything happens. Okay, we do have a power light, or a charge light. That's a good sign. And we don't have our battery in, that's okay. So far, so good. Let's open it up and see if anything happens. I do hear a hard disk in this, though, this time. I heard some clicking going on, but nothing on the screen. And again, I don't even know if this keyboard works, to be honest with you. So I'm going to grab our trusty Dell keyboard again. Yeah, nothing on the keyboard. Let me try another USB port. Sometimes the port can be bad. Nothing. The laptop's not even giving me any indication. I mean, outside of it powering on, it's not doing much. And the fact that we're not even getting any response, it's possible there's something wrong with the processor, something wrong with the board, something wrong with the memory. It could be anything. Okay, I'm going to unplug the power from it for a moment. We'll take a quick look to see what we have underneath. I had a different one. It's not there. Okay, let's unscrew this one here. And that should be our memory. Yeah, there we go. Just going to pop up one of the sticks. It's just part of the troubleshooting process. Looks like we have 2 gigabytes of PC2 6400S RAM. Plug it back in, and yeah, every laptop's different. You never know where it plugs in. Okay, let's hit the power button again. I'm going to get the external monitor hooked up here. It's possible it's displaying something, and there's something wrong with the system itself. So let me get the external the external monitor set up here. Okay, so we have our trusty HP monitor. We know that it works. There's our VGA cable. We'll connect that. Okay, we have it plugged in. And let's power on the computer. No, same thing. Again, it sounds like it wants to boot. Like the fan spins up and the fan comes down. The hard disk starts to show some activity, but nothing. And I'm going to connect the keyboard here, see if we get any life. Nothing. All right, well, system number 3 is going to require a little more love here. We're going to find out. We're going to take this machine apart just to see if we can get it up and running. But yeah, so system number 1, not working. System number 2 works great. System number 3 is not working. Let's go on to system number 4. Let's see what happens. Here we go. All right, here we are with system number 4. We have another Dell laptop. This is a Dell Latitude. I believe it's a C600 series. Very similar to my other Dell that I had. So this is the one that I had featured in another video, and I did a complete restoration on, and we were able to get it up and running. If you haven't checked that video, go check it out, please. When I saw this as well, and this came from the online marketplace individual along with that Toshiba. So I have some information covered up because there's a lot of personal information on this machine as to where the person worked and obviously local areas. Overall, the machine's in really good shape. On the front, we have what looks like a modular battery and a modular floppy drive bay. Really awesome to see these. being modular allows you to swap out different connections. Say if you had an optical modular bay, you could pop it in where this floppy disk is, or if you wanted to have extended battery life, you could have another one of the batteries and swap out the floppy bay for another battery. So I thought that was really, really cool. Specifically, these are business class machines, so they came with a little more bells and whistles compared to the consumer type machines. It looks like we have speaker on the side, infrared, couple indicators up top here, LEDs for your hard disk, your power, your charging, a couple of audio jacks for your headset and your microphone, pretty standard. Looks like a dual card. We have our modem and our Ethernet as well as TV out. And then we have some ventilation. Along the back, we have our COM port. We have some fan ventilation underneath. We have our printer port and our good old Dell docking station by the looks of things. We have additional, looks like, I think this is additional fan on the back. And then of course we have a PS2 port for our mouse or keyboard, not both obviously, unless you had one of those dongles, I believe you could get. And then we have a USB port, VGA, and our power. And on the other side, we have PCMCIA ports. What's on here? Oh, that's our hard disk. So our hard disk, little screw underneath, you would remove and you could slide the hard disk out and put it back in. A lot to be said about user accessibility and also really, really good for the IT teams. And of course, another speaker by the looks of things. We know this machine works. That's the one from our previous video. Let's get this plugged in and powered on. Okay, we have our Dell power adapter plugged in. It is proprietary connection, so I'm very happy that the seller had that. I do have two of these now, which is great. So we also have the one for the other machine. Now, if you recall on my other Dell, you can see that I'm missing the, I believe it's the track point. Yeah, so I'm missing the track point left mouse button, and this is, they're actually identical. So I'll put this one aside again for a moment, and we'll see if this machine will power on. Okay, it's powering on. Very loud hard disk. There's our Dell screen. Memory write read failure. It shows the address and our read address expecting decreasing available memory. Invalid configuration information. Please run setup program. Time of day not set. Please run setup and strike F1 to continue or F2 to run the setup utility. So there we go. I mean, we know that it's powering up so far and that we definitely need to replace the CMOS battery. Let's hit F2 first, just to see what we have in this system. So it looks like we have a Pentium 3 750/600 megahertz CPU. Current speed is at 750, so it looks like it can go either or. We have our level 2 cache. System memory is 8 megabytes. I don't know what is installed in this machine in terms of memory, but it's for whatever reason only detecting 8 megabytes of the memory. Then we have our ESS Maestro audio controller, which I believe is the same in my other machine. We have, looks like a 6 gigabyte hard disk. Our disk drive A is showing that it's been installed in the modular bay, which is great, which we did see as we went through the machine. Obviously, the date and time's not working. We're not going to go through all of this, but you can see that you can go in and change the screen if you need to. You can go in, it shows you all the different configurations. Battery's not installed. I mean, obviously the battery's dead. And gives you all these different power options. We did all this in another video already. When we go to restore this system, if this is worth restoring, we'll definitely go through and see what we can do. All right, so we do know that's a Pentium 3 running at 750 megahertz with only 8 megabytes of memory. I don't think that's going to do much, to be honest. It is detecting a hard disk. I can definitely hear it running. And then we have our modular bay. Okay, I'm going to hit escape and see if it actually boots into an operating system. Okay, it says Windows could not start because the following file is missing or corrupt. Windows System 32 config system. You can attempt to repair the file using Windows Setup using the original setup CD-ROM or select R at the first screen to start repair. Okay, well, yeah, we're stuck. Now, I'm just wondering, I don't know what version of Windows would be installed in this machine, so it's kind of hard to troubleshoot this now, but you know, this would be a good candidate for restoration. The fact that, you know, we get an external drive set up. If it does detect USB right away, you can hook up an external drive and see if we can get the setup CD-ROM going. Or I'm wondering, I wonder if the modular bay from this machine would fit in this machine. Let's do that right now. Here's a perfect example of why these machines are really cool. And if you get spare ones or similar ones, if they do in fact work together. So on this machine, which is the machine we're working on, we're just going to remove the floppy bay. There we are. So it's just, like I said, it's just a floppy drive that's in a modular bay. I think that's so neat. And we're going to remove the CD-ROM optical. Here we are. Well, it is looking slightly different, but we'll see. So, I mean, side by side, you can see that the connections look the same, but the configuration about how far it goes back in, like the CD-ROM drive or the optical drive, is a little deeper on that side. So I'm not sure if it's going to fit. So we're just going to be very careful when we go to put this in. So that needs to be facing up to show that the connector's there. So far, so good. I heard a click. Okay, let's let's see if the system detects the drive. F2. Ah, there we go. Sure enough, modular bay is showing a CD-ROM drive. And let's hit the eject button. There we go. See? Perfect. All right, so we just turned this machine into a multimedia powerhouse. No, not really. So we're going to be able to utilize that optical drive to be able to restore this this computer. That's really awesome. We really need to see if these restore CDs for this system specifically are online. I'll have to check that out. All right, I'm going to look at the memory underneath to see what's installed. 2 screws on the back. And again, I love this era of machines because it really gives you the option to have accessibility for the end user. Okay, so we have some memory installed. Let's take a peek. Well, we also have a battery, everybody. So we know the battery's dead based on the information, but it has that evil name written right on it, Verda. I'm going to remove that from the system because, I mean, even though it's kind of in this case in this area, it is dead, right? It's not working. So I want to remove it from the system. Okay, so we remove that battery. I believe these batteries are available. Yeah, see, I don't know if I did that when I put the screwdriver underneath or not, but possibly. I don't see any damage on the metal. But I don't know if these are available online. I'm sure they are, that I can actually replace this battery with. If not, a bunch of cells, we can already make our own and connect the leads and go from there. But anyway, so we need to do that anyway if we end up restoring the system. So in terms of memory, I don't like that they have plastic connectors. Let's pull that out. It looks like we have 256 megabytes there. And over here, we have 256. So we have 512 megs of RAM. So for some reason, the machine is only detecting 8 megabytes of memory. So that's something we have to look into because I don't know if it's an issue with the RAM. I don't have any of this memory available to me at the moment. I'm going to have to get some, but I'm not sure if it's the RAM or it could be something going on inside here. And it's going to take a little while to figure that out, obviously, once I get some memory, but we'll make all that part of that restoration video. But I'm definitely going to say that this is definitely a candidate for a restoration. We do know that it posts. We can swap out the modular bay from the floppy over to the optical, which is really neat. And I have other machines I can test this memory in, so I want to do some memory tests. It's just possible the memory's bad, right? And it keeps on not detecting it and only detects it 8 megabytes, which is weird. Okay, all right, let's move on to our next computer. Okay, here we are with our final machine. Last but not least, we have an Acer machine. I believe this is a travel mate based on the video that we did earlier. Looks like we have a Bluetooth on and off button. We also have a wireless on and off button, so quick access in the front to turn off the on and off those functionality. We also have a couple of LEDs here for our power and our hard disk activity, a couple speakers. We also have audio out, we have microphone, and of course our headphone jack, and then we have a USB port as well. On the side, we have our PCM card adapter. We also have 2 USB ports, and it looks like this is, well, it looks like TV out, but I'll be honest, I think it's just a plug, to be honest, because this machine may not have come with it. This also says 1394 Firewire, and it's not populated either. So this machine would have, they would have used probably the same bezel and the same chassis for different versions of this machine. We have our Ethernet and modem. We also have ventilation. And along the back, it looks like we have our power, VGA, and our batteries with our Kensington lock as well. So pretty straightforward. Along the back, we have all of our ports populated. We don't have to worry about any of the plastic bezels missing. Let's open it up and take a look at the screen. Well, I'm in heaven already because it's not gloss. So we have an Acer TravelMate 2310. We have our power and a couple of, so it has a little E over here. That's that empowering technology that Acer had, as well as a couple other quick keys. Over here, we have our curved ergonomic keyboard, our trackpad with our mouse buttons. Everything seems to be pretty good. I mean, it's in decent shape for what it is. Intel Celeron M inside and designed for Windows XP. So I can only imagine how slow this would have been back in the day. Okay, let's see if we can determine the voltage of this, because again, I don't have the power adapter. I'm just going to see what it says. It says 19 volt, 3.42 amps is the plug. So that my 19 volts should work just fine. I believe that's the light on that I have. Find our power. There we are. Pretty straightforward. Well, we have a power light. It's a good sign. And let's hit the power button and see what happens. Oh, we have activity. Oh, our ASO logo and a very pale backlight. Grub loading. Booting Q4OS desktop. 4.11 Gemini. Loading the Q4OS operating system. I don't know what that is. Okay, well, it's loading up to something. So we have a desktop and the screen looks actually really good. It looks brighter in the camera than it does in real life. But we have Tony, whoever Tony is, Q4OS desktop operating system. I'm probably never going to get this. Let's try admin. This is where all Linux users of the world are screaming at me to do something. Guest account? Is there a guest account? No. So let me do some research on this to see if I can bypass this screen. Okay, so after about half hour of messing around and researching online, I was able to go into, I guess you hold shift at the beginning and you're able to select a different menu. And from that, I was able to alter a command and reset the password for this computer. So, I mean, it's fairly simple once I figured it out. But again, thanks to the current internet of today versus back in the day. So I just reset the password to be the same as the username. We'll hit login and see what we have. Okay, we have a cool startup sound. It says, welcome to Q4OS, fast and powerful desktop operating system focused on long-term stability, reliability, and classic style user interface. Q4OS is installed as a very basic and clean desktop environment with a minimal software kit. Now it's the right time to adjust your new desktop. You might want to make use of tweaking shortcuts below. So it gives run desktop profiler, install applications, proprietary codec, screen scaling, set auto login, and switch start menu. Under more options, we have hardware info, desktop effects, documents online, donate, and support us on Patreon. So I'm not sure if this is a common OS or this is just like one of those. Anyway, I know nothing about it, so I'm not even gonna guess. So I just clicked on the device info, hardware info, and it says our system is a desktop is a Trinity R14. Distro is Q4OS 4.11. CPU is an Intel Celeron M processor, 1.4 gigahertz with 681 megs of RAM. I don't know what's installed. We have 37 gigabyte hard disk, so it's probably a 40 gigabyte hard disk. Again, I'm not familiar with this. It looks a lot like XP to me, Windows XP. I don't know where they got their inspiration. My computer, even the browser looks very Firefoxy. But yeah, I mean, overall, the purpose of today's video is to see what would need to be done, but this computer looks like it's booting. I'm not seeing any issues. I'm not seeing any issues with the hard disk. The RAM looks like it's all populated, or at least working. In a proper video on this machine, if we were to do one, we would definitely take a look. So again, let me know down in the comments about this operating system specifically, because I'm curious to see if anyone has experience with this and whether I should keep it and try it out or get it off the computer as quickly as I can. All right, let's head to our outro. And here we are at the end of our journey of our 5 laptops. So many laptops. We have 5 machines here, and we were able to get 3 predominantly working, at least to a state where we know we can do something with them. And then, of course, we have these 2 guys here. I'll be honest with you, the HP EliteBook with the broken screen, the bad keyboard, and the potential power problems, I would say this becomes a scrap machine for parts, donor parts. There's obviously a whole bunch of different things you can use on these machines. In terms of the Toshiba, I mean, we have a machine that's powering up that sounds like it wants to boot, but for whatever reason, it just won't boot. So I have no idea what's going on there. Our beautiful Compaq Armada 1750 deserves all the love in the world. So we definitely want to take that, restore the BIOS. You know, again, Compaq installs the BIOS on the hard disk. That clearly has been restored. So we'll get that all fully restored using the actual restored CDs as well as the BIOS disk, which I do have. Our Dell C600, our Pentium 3 750, that's going to be a fun machine to restore as well. Obviously, we need to install the modular bay, which we do have, get a new battery installed and get that system up and running, but definitely an awesome candidate to get restored. And finally, we have our Acer TravelMate, which is the least inspiring of all these machines in my eyes, and it works fully fine. Whoever had it obviously did something to it to either keep it going or restore it or just kept it good. But either way, they were able to get it up and running and clearly installed the Linux distribution on there. So again, if you know anything about that distribution, please let me know in the comments. I really want to hear about it because I've never seen that before. It looks a lot like Windows XP, but again, it just proves that a Linux distribution can breathe new life into an older machine such as this. Well, thanks to everyone for going on the journey with me, and I hope you enjoyed this content of us testing out a bunch of different machines, if we can get them up and running or not, at least getting us in a good place where we can say, hey, that's worth restoring, or you know what, it's going to become a parts machine. That said, if you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps the channel grow, tells YouTube you like what you're seeing. Hit the notification button, change it to all, you'll be notified of new content such as this. Please leave a comment down below. Did we walk through nostalgia lane in your memories? Did you own any of these machines? And what the heck is this distribution of Linux? Please let me know down in the comments. I respond to absolutely every comment. I love the interaction on the channel. Always making new content. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.